Hi, welcome to the video. I'm Damien, this is Dame Over, and today we're looking at a playstyle that for me completely died with the release of Battlefield 5, but I found a way to renew it. It's one of the weapons in the Recon class that has brought this playstyle all the way back to the forefront. It's definitely one of the most fun ways to play, and today is all about the ultimate aggressive sniper. Now, I've chosen one weapon in the Recon class in particular that I think absolutely excels at playing aggressively when you're using the Recon class, and that is the ZH-29, as you've seen in the clips already. Now, this weapon is nothing new to BF5. It's a level 10 unlock for the Recon class and has been in the game since the first release. Now, I've been killed by it a lot more than I cared to have been, and I feel like it got overshadowed with the introduction of the Selbstlauder 1906, which absolutely is a beast in its own right. But I think the ZH-29 is the best choice to play aggressively if you're using the Recon class. And here are the reasons why. Well, if we look at the stats very quickly, the ZH-29 has almost exactly the same stats compared to the Selbstlauder 1906, apart from one very important statistic, and that is the rate of fire. The Selbstlauder does fire 164 rounds per minute, a little bit faster than the ZH-29's 150. Now, you might think the Selbstlauder then has the advantage, as they've got exactly the same damage and accuracy, hip fire, and the control is almost exactly the same as well. And I'd have to agree with most of you right now that are talking to the screen going, what the hell is this guy talking about? The Selbstlauder 1906, in quite a lot of situations, is the better gun if you're using the 3x scope. And this is where the ZH-29 completely outstrips the Selbstlauder 1906. So as we know, the ZH-29 is a 2-tap kill to the body from any range, but it is still at the end of the day in the Recon class, and therefore should be used from further away, you'd think. That is where, my friends, you are absolutely incorrect. The ZH-29 is a beast up close. The time to kill is incredibly fast thanks to that 2-tap kill, and if you take the sight off the weapon, something which is an unpopular thing to do on Battlefield 5 because the way the game is set up, semi-auto rifles are a very good example of this, benefiting massively from the ranges that you're most likely to fight in, so having a 3x scope on the top of your weapon is usually an advantage, but with the ZH-29, taking all of the sights off and just using the iron sights almost completely removes any visible recoil. And this was without the ZH-29 even having all of the upgrades on it. Even at the end of getting this footage, I still hadn't reached level 4 with the ZH-29 and wasn't able to put all the specializations on, but it was still pretty easy to stay on target even at the far end of medium range and keep taking advantage of the full fire rate of the ZH-29. So what are the best specializations to have equipped to make the ZH-29 the most effective it can be at close range? Well, we're going to go right, left. So you're starting with quick aim. You've then got detachable magazines for a much faster reload, barrel bedding to improve accuracy in aimed fire, and finally on the left hand side at the bottom we've got recoil buffer, giving you less upwards recoil. And you'll notice in some of these clips as well, I've managed to get in fights that are definitely at close range against people that are carrying SMGs and shotguns and other close range specialists. But thanks to the very fast TTK of the ZH-29, even in a stand-up fight, I'm able to shut them down before they can do too much damage to me. Now, the aggressive sniper is definitely a high-skilled way to play. You have to make sure your positioning is very good at all times and be aware of where the enemy is. And with the Recon class, you've got the huge advantage of having the flare gun available to you. Using your flares properly is absolutely key to 1, keeping yourself alive, and 2, making those massive flanks that you decide to pull off a success. The flare gun is one of those gadgets that is actually a little bit tricky to use to start with until you get used to the mechanics. So the way it works in Battlefield 5, which I'm sure most of you do know by now, but it's always good to say these things out loud anyway, the area of the minimap that's lit up by the flare directly correlates to how high up it is. So if you're looking straight up as you fire it, it will have a much wider area of effect and will last much longer than if you're looking at a flat trajectory when you use it. This has a huge impact on how far you're able to fire the flare effectively. You can't just shoot one off into the distance and it lasts for absolutely ages like it used to in Battlefield 1. You have to be close by when you fire the flare to get the most out of it, which is why it's such a great gadget to pair with the ZH-29. Using good positioning, flanking maneuvers, and the flare gun will make you a very formidable opponent when you're using the ZH-29. As always, making sure you're trying to get the drop on your opponents so they have to turn to shoot you or they have to run away in the opposite direction and not be able to return fire is absolutely key to picking up a chain of kills. Try and treat the ZH-29 like you would with a shotgun. Take one player out, reload and reposition, and then move in to take out another player, and so on and so on. But the fantastic thing about the ZH-29 is is that it is so effective at range as well. If you are forced into one of those mid to long range fights where you're picking players off before you're able to move in, the ZH-29 is an excellent weapon to have in your arsenal. Taking out those players that are entrenched using MMGs is pretty easy thanks to that headshot multiplier, and thanks to the high damage per shot, you're more often than not going to be finishing off kills on already injured opponents. Like I mentioned earlier, this is a high skilled way to play, so you have to make sure you're being accurate. Missing your shots means that you will be punished. You do have 6 rounds available after a full reload, which means you can take on a maximum of 3 targets before you're forced to reload, so making sure you're hitting each of those shots is very, very important to keeping yourself alive and keeping your squad in the fight. Now in Battlefield 5, I feel that the aggressive sniper absolutely excels when you're using it for your other squad mates' benefit. Being able to put those flares out as often as you can, and you're able to carry 2 of them if you go to a resupply station, is an incredible way to play, especially if you're attacking an objective. Now in this footage, you've been seeing a little bit of conquest and a little bit of front lines as well. And it was by pairing up with one of my friends who is playing as the assault class that we were really able to synergize our squad and take advantage of being able to see all of the opponents on the minimap when I fired up a flare. It's surprising to me actually how rare it is to see someone using the flare gun, and especially using it properly in Battlefield 5, so when someone is spotted on the radar, people are going to shoot at them. Like, it's insane. The amount of gunfire that just flies towards a red dot just because it appears is crazy. So use that to your advantage. If you know where the enemy is, or you have a rough estimate of their position, fire up a flare so your teammates can take them out and help you reposition for you to go and pick up even more kills. But like I said, the aggressive sniper is all about getting in close and taking advantage of the high damage per shot, so don't be afraid to push into those objectives and contest at close range. My personal preference is to pair the ZH-29 with a fast-firing secondary. I use the Repetier Pistola because it has the fastest fire rate of all the pistols, but I know many of you will prefer to use the revolver because of its high damage per shot, so you'll be toting a high-skill, high-damage loadout. Now, to complete the loadout, I'd recommend carrying AP mines. Yes, some of the kills are a little bit cheap, but it's a very good way to protect your flanks as they are intended to do. And my top recommendation for making sure you can get out of dodge and to help revive your teammates is to carry smoke grenades on you. And as the Recon class, you're entirely useless against vehicles, so making sure you've got smoke grenades to use as an out if you do get targeted by tanks is an absolute must-have. So that's my take on the aggressive sniper. The ZH-29 is absolutely the top pick for me. It has changed quite a bit since Battlefield 1. Using those flares effectively is the #1 tactic, I think, and concentrating on communicating with your squad rather than just trying to frag out is far more important. But instead of sitting on a hill and waiting for an enemy to appear in front of your crosshair, you're getting stuck into the action. It's fast-paced and it's exciting, and just like with playing with shotguns, as you guys would have seen in some of my previous videos, this is definitely one of the most fun ways to play. So go pick up your ZH-29 and try it out. Let me know what you think about the aggressive sniper down in the comments below. And here's a very quick thank you to my Dame operatives, those of you guys supporting the channel through Patreon. You guys are absolute heroes, so if you want to become a patron yourself, there's a link in the description and the pinned comment. So if you had a good time, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button too. Don't forget the bell button so you don't miss any future posts. And as always, share this video absolutely wherever you like. Until next time, that's Dame over. Peace.